In April 2017, I went back to Europe to check out a less traveled part of the continent, Eastern Europe. I booked the Eastern Road with Contiki, whom I did the European Discovery trip 6 months earlier. I had an idea of what to expect on this trip from the Contiki experience, but I didn't know what people I would meet or things I would experience and remember for the rest of my life. This is the Eastern Road. Out of all the cities that we will see on this Eastern Road, Vienna and Berlin were the two cities that I was looking forward to. More so because my father's side is from Germany and my mother's side is from Austria. And on my last Contiki trip, I had the opportunity to go to Austria for the first time. I was on the western part, now I'm going to be on the eastern part in Vienna, and Vienna did not disappoint. After a brief bus tour, our tour manager Tammy took us to the outside of the Hofburg Palace, where we got reacquainted with some history.
You need to imagine, it's 1938. This whole square is full of people. They all have a flag. They're cheering, they're excited. There's a man on that balcony up there. Does anyone know what I could be talking about? So the man on the balcony was Adolf Hitler, and the flags were the swastikas. So this is exactly where he annexed not just Vienna, but Austria. He made his speech from that balcony up there, which is now their National Library. This here is the start of the Hofburg Palace. It is absolutely huge. So Sisi lived here, Franz Josef lived here, Maria Theresa lived here, pretty much all the Habsburgs lived here. But this was their winter residence, so they liked to be here and keep warm. Their summer residence was the Schnaps Palace. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like 5 bedrooms in a house is probably enough. You get to 1,000, that looks a little bit ridiculous. The Hofburg Palace has over 2,500 rooms. Absolutely ridiculous. The maids had a really hard time here, guys. But there's only just less than 2 dozen that we can actually have a look at. A lot of them, one of them's like the Treasury, there's the CC Museum, you can actually go look at her bedroom as well. So there's lots of, each room basically is like a different museum in here. So you guys can spend like 3 weeks just exploring this palace. So again, not something that we can do in one day.
Once we arrived in the Old Town Square, we had free time for a few hours. So there was much to see in Vienna that you just can't do it all in one day. But we came across the Karlskirche Church. This church is massive and very beautiful. They have this elevator and scaffolding which takes you right to the top of the dome. There is amazing artwork and you are literally 60 to 80 meters above the ground. It was quite the sight. Later that afternoon, we went to a Schnapps Factory, where we got an informational tour of the facilities and the all-important sampling at the end.
Since this is a very old family-owned business, we start here in this room with the family history, and then we go further to our composition room where we'll tell you all about schnapps. And last but not least, we have our tasting, so I hope you already have lunch. And so you're ready for schnapps, right? Yeah. Nice. We started out here already 1875. That's our founder, Friedrich Fischer. but he started here really innocent just with the production of raspberry juice. But his business grew really big and he became the biggest raspberry juice maker in the whole monarchy. And that's why he needed 60 tons of raspberries every year for his production. And that was quite a lot nowadays and also back in these days because they were all hand-baked. And somehow it worked because we are really close to the railway station. Did you recognize that? Yes, we're really close to the railway station. And his business went really well, and that's why he was able to travel to Paris in 1900 to the World Exhibition, where he bought the first copper steam-driven steelheads. That's actually a distillation machine. And he brought it back here to Vienna, started making schnapps. These are actually fruit brandies, or so-called schnapps, and schnapps comes from the German word Schnaps, because this means as much as snap it, because they needed to snap all the fruits, because to pick them is production. You may know the song Schnie, Schna, Schnappi, and exactly that's why crocodile, snappy, Schnappi. German. German. Okay.
Ich bin Schnappi, ein kleiner Krokodil.
So first you take the fruit, let's take apricot as an example. You take the apricots, you put the stone or wash them, and then you add some yeast. Then the fermentation process starts, and after 2 weeks it would flip into vinegar. But before that happens, you put it in your distillation machine, and then you heat it. You have to heat this really slowly though, because if you heat this too fast, everything explodes. So you heat it until 67 degrees of Celsius, but there just the first steam comes out, the so-called methanol. And methanol, you know methanol, highly poisonous, but I don't drink it. And they put this stuff away, and then they heat it further until 78 degrees of Celsius, and then the hard piece comes out, the so-called ethanol. And the ethanol is now this nice alcohol we would like to drink, but it has 70%, so slightly too much for our throat. That's why we put it down to 38 or 42 for shops, yes. But on the countryside, a homemade one, which is called Obstler here, also have 55% or goes up to 60. These are bitter spirits, and did you already tried here in Vienna the Wiener Schnitzel? Yes? Okay, so you know it's quite a big dish, right? And if you really finish it all, you're not really able to eat apple strudel or chocolate cake, but you really would like to try such a traditional dessert. And there you maybe take one of fruit brandy or schnapps for the digestion, right? But what happens if you drink this stuff? Your stomach just starts vibrating and your brain can't distinguish between real being hungry and this alcohol being hungry. So that's why you get hungry if you drink beer or alcohol. But if you drink after this Wiener Schnitzel a real stomach bitter like this, this has 38 different herbs inside, and the enzymes of the herbs really help your digestion. So if you drink this after the Wiener Schnitzel, you will be able to eat apple strudel, ice cream, chocolate cake or whatever. And yes, a quite famous bitter spirit is this one, absinthe. Did you heard about it already? Did you try it already? Can you remember it? Yes. It's quite bitter in taste as well. And it came up first in 1200, and Hildegard von Bingen, a psychologist, used it for the therapy of depressions. And later on it came up again in the 1900s for women who had the cramps during the period, because the main ingredient is wormwood, and wormwood releases cramps. So the women took this medicine back down, and it was really bitter in taste. So they didn't drink it, but their husband did, because it also releases the cramps in the head. And actually it became the most popular drink in the 1900s, because if you went to a bar, you could buy a full glass of beer for the same price as a full glass of absinthe, because there were no production controls and no taxes, and yeah.
I tried the absinthe. It smelled like rubbing alcohol, but it wasn't all that bad. And I bought a couple of bottles of schnapps too, apricot and apple strudel. After our schnapps tour, we went back to the hotel and got ready for our formal evening, which included a traditional concert and dinner. So the traditional opera performance in music, classical music, was great. Everyone fully enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of music that was played that was very recognizable, like from James Cameron's film Titanic, and Charlie Chaplin's film The Great Dictator, amongst others. And it was a very enjoyable evening. And after that, we went out again to get some Austrian schnitzel and apple strudel, which was again absolutely amazing. And I really enjoyed my time in Vienna. There was quite a few things that I had wanted to see, much like Paris. I just, you just can't do it all in one day. And Vienna is the one city that I absolutely want to go back to, and I could literally spend, maybe 4 or 5 days in that city. There's lots of great museums, and just the architecture across the city is absolutely amazing. And I really want to go back there at some point in the future.